Everybody shut up and action! Is the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie any good? Bro, it was gorgeous. Alright, so if you know me, How to Train Your Dragon, the original animation from back in 2010 is easily one of the greatest movies ever made and the one in contention for the greatest animated film ever. Like, I love this movie to death. Like, I am a huge fan of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. I've seen all the movies multiple times. I've seen all the spin-offs multiple times. I'm just a huge fan. I'm a diehard fan of this franchise. I love it to death. And I was scared when I heard they were making a How to Train Your Dragon live action. I was like, yeah, seeing what they've done with One Piece, another animated show I am in love with, and seeing what they've done with Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it looked beautiful, but like they changed the entire story essentially, and all these other things. Like, yeah, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but like most of the time they're mid. It's like, yeah, I'm terrified to see what's gonna come of it, and oh my god, will they make something that's worthwhile, that's good? Will my memory of the animation and how much I love it and how every line sticks in my head ruin my live action experience? Will the live action even look good? Well, all those fears were kind of conquered in some way or another, and yeah, this movie was absolutely beautiful. Alright, so if you somehow haven't seen the animated films, this is the story of a boy named Hiccup who lives in a village of Vikings called Berk on an island, and yeah, he wants to be a Viking. He wants to kill a dragon, but during his journey of trying to kill a dragon, he changed his ways and befriends a dragon, and this is a story of him bringing that change to his island. This is what the story of How to Train Your Dragon is, and it is one of the most beautiful stories you will ever watch. If you haven't seen the animation, I highly suggest you go watch the animation before anything, because that is one of the greatest films ever made. But now talking to the live action, visually, it is stunning. Like, the cinematography behind this film is absolutely eye-catching, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely captivating. It tugs you to your heart and soul. It feels like the live action has come to life, and you genuinely get immersed right into the screen, seeing everything live action. You're not, like, most of the time, you're not actively comparing it to the animation. You're just lost and immersed into it, and yes, well, like, there are multiple periods throughout this entire thing where you just start comparing it to the live action, and kind of, yes, that kind of takes away from the movie itself. Not because you're comparing, but just because instead of unconsciously being immersed into the film, experiencing the story, you're consciously thinking and comparing, and that is just natural with watching a film you've seen before and just comparing it to another film you've seen before, and that just comes naturally. You can't expect to, like, I would have loved it if I could somehow magically immerse myself into this movie to not be trying to watch it, but to not try to be thinking of it and comparing it, but unfortunately, that's gonna happen. So I'm not, like, that's not hindering my review or anything, but that is something that genuinely just happens when you're watching this movie. And like, there are multiple periods, like, lines stick in my head from the animated film, and it's like clear as day. Yeah, they're cutting this line out, they're cutting this line out, they're changing the organization of wordings here and there, and it feels like, okay, you're changing the wordings, and like, you're casually noticing all these differences while you watch, but regardless, like, it's still conveying the same idea, the same story, everything's the same essentially. Yeah, there are some scenes that have been cut, some scenes that have been added, a lot of things have been added, a lot of words have been changed, but it's all part of the movie, and it does create a faithful live action adaptation where it's almost essentially a one-to-one, like, besides those minor changes, and for that purpose, you just fall in love with the movie, and the only thing hindering that, the immersivity, is quite literally just that inability for being unable to unconsciously watch and immerse yourself into the film. Besides that, the visuals are absolutely stunning, eye-catching. With the soundtrack, it is essentially the same soundtrack with, once again, some differences and changes, which you do notice if you've seen the film so many times in the animated form. But yeah, there are some changes to the soundtrack, and like, it still hits the same. It still gives you chills. You fall in love with it all over again. The scenes feel magical, mystical. The island, the wide-angle shots, the establishing shots, everything about this is so freaking gorgeous that you fall in love with this film all over again. Like, all I want to do today, like, I'm just waiting for it to hit evening, because I watched this movie yesterday, and I'm just waiting for it to hit evening tonight so that I can just rewatch the animation, because I really want to watch the animation all over again, for the millionth time, goddamn. But, you know, I really fell in love with this movie. I really watched it. I really fell in love with this movie, like, the cinematography, from the vast sky shots, to the action shots of flying on a dragon, to the entire battle sequences, to essentially everything about the story. It just has you hooked. Every shot is absolutely stunning and gorgeous. Yes, when we saw the casting profiles, like there was a lot of controversy over the casting and whatnot, but I thought I didn't really have much of an opinion. I didn't really care, but like I was just low-key jealous that I wouldn't get to be in this movie because I didn't even audition because I didn't know where to audition. But you know, you just have that entire jealousy feeling of being like, oh my god, I wish I could be in this movie so bad. And low-key, I know How to Train Your Dragon 2 is confirmed. I want to audition for Eric, son of Eric, if at all possible, and if I can find the audition casting call for that. But you know, that's all besides the point. But you know, there is a lot of controversy over the actors, but you know, when you watch the movie, like, you're not giving two craps about the controversy. I feel like every actor has their moment where they just really fit their role and really express it fully and believably. Like Hiccup. Mason, I believe, is the actor's name, and oh my god, he is like the perfect casting for Hiccup. Like the guy killed his role, bro. Like he portrays his entire pathetic personality so well, so beautifully. Yes, there are moments where it's like, it feels drastically different and it kind of breaks your immersivity and yada yada yada. But for the most part of the film, it's like a stunning performance, stunning chemistry with Astrid, with the entire Dragon Rider crew, with his father, Stoic. There's just such a beautiful chemistry between them all that really portrays those relations beautifully to the screen, portraying depth behind it that just hooks you, gravitates you towards the character all over again in this live action standpoint, and not just Hiccup, but like all the actors, Astrid, Stoic, Gobber, everyone from the Dragon Rider crew, they all have their moments where they just shine so beautifully for most of the movie, and then they have like one or two sequences where it's like you're feeling okay, yeah, this is a little bit. It's not like honestly, surprisingly, there weren't any cringe sequences in my eyes. It was just more like there were just one or two lines of acting performances which kind of stick out. Like I wouldn't comment on this if it didn't promptly stick out in a way where it's like, yeah. I'm like, I feel like so bad about critiquing that fact because it's like, oh my god, they did such a good acting performance, but you're gonna criticize that one line. But I'm like, I don't like doing that, but it's that one line that just stuck out so bad. It's like, that just broke the immersivity. Oh, okay, now I'm consciously thinking about the movie again. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was the line for sure. But okay, now we're back into the movie. Like, it's just for a moment that you kind of just lose your immersivity streak because like one line drop just feels so fake. But like, besides that, they constantly have you hooked believing they're the character, not the actor portraying a character, and you're just hooked, immersed to these characters, you fall in love with these characters all over again, and then, there are, like, some casting things which just feel weird in the fact that, like, for example, there is a key difference between Rough Nut and Tough Nut. I mean, in the animation, it's like, if the hairstyle wasn't slightly different, you would essentially think they're the same people. And in this show, in this live action adaptation, they're clearly two different, distinct people. And then there's like mild changes to their personalities, or not really. The characters all feel the same. It's just like I feel like Rough Nut and Tough Nut didn't feel as snarky as they were. Like, I mean, they did a great job. But I think in the writing aspect of this film, it was more like they didn't feel as snarky as they were in the original film. But I guess that's just a feeling that came on me, but whatever. I still love the twins. I loved everything. I loved all the actors and the portrayals of the character. I fell in love with everything. Snotlout really does kill you with laughs. I wish Fishlegs was a little bit more of a nerd, though. Like, I mean, he did portray the nerd aspect really well, but, like, it feels like it was underplayed a little. But, you know, regardless of that, it was still a fun watching. You really fall in love with these characters all over again. I love this movie through and through, from the animation to everything, from the animated adaptations of this film. I mean, from the CGI aspect of this film, everything is gorgeous. The design of Toothless is stunning. He's probably the most accurately portrayed dragon. When I saw the pictures of the dragons, which I was trying to avoid, but inevitably ended up seeing on social media, all the dragons, I mean, it was mainly Toothless that looked accurate to the animation, to the animated film, like in a one-to-one design, but then like, and then all the other ones look kind of bad, but like when you watch it in this film, all of them looked absolutely stunning, except for Hookfang, which is the monstrous nightmare, which just looks completely... Which, I mean, for the most part, it seems like it looks good, but, like, the face is what throws me off so much. But, you know, besides that, I think they all looked really wonderful, and, like, you really fall in love with the dragons all over again. But, yeah, I really love this movie, and there are so many moments you're just constantly waiting for. Like, yes, you're immersed in this movie, experiencing moment after moment, but, like, there are definitely key moments of the animated film that you remember and you can't wait to experience in the live action adaptation, and you're just looking forward to those moments, so that creates that anticipation for the moments. And obviously, having seen the animation, you're kind of losing yourself in the anxiety a little, but it does recreate the anxiety of certain moments. Oh, will they live, will they die, etc., etc. But yeah, you know, that's just part of rewatching a film that's going to portray the same story, and that doesn't take away from the movie. It's just wonderful to see that it still keeps that anxiety within you. Only other complaint I really had is that, like, the beginning sequence of the movie where they're starting everything and everything's just freshly getting going, it felt very rushed. Like, everything was going very quickly compared to the animation where it felt nice and slow and long and drawn out a little. Like, not long in a bad way, but like just long and nice long sequence portraying the characters, establishing who they are, their personalities, their psyche. And here it's like it feels like you understand the characters because you know them, and while it is portraying their characters and how trying to establish a psyche, it just feels very fast paced, and like it's well done, but it just feels rushed in terms of how fast the entire sequences progress, and that was kind of it just kind of dampened the mood. Like, it wasn't bad, but like it just dampened the mood and like just the immersiveness of the scene, I guess. Like, I mean, like it doesn't grab you into the scene as well as it did in the beginning of the anime. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, in the animation, it's slow. Like, there's this entire sequence where, like, maybe I'm just misremembering the animated movie, but there's like it feels like Hiccup's journey from shooting the whatchamacallit to from being from Goblin's place to going to shoot that felt like much longer, but then here it's like ding ding. Like, it just felt like so fast. I'm like, okay, we're just trying to jump right into the juicy bits of the movie. Okay. But yeah, like, besides that, everything was practically 1-to-1 and just beautiful, and like even then some scenes felt drawn out, other scenes felt shortened, but you know, it was nice. It was nice. There are those differences which kind of you notice, but in the end, you still enjoy this film through and through. You enjoy the story through and through. Everything about this movie was gorgeous. Is this film immersive? Yes, for the most part, but there are points where it does break off from the immersivity, like I said before. But like, is this film rewatchable? Hell yeah. Or I mean, I don't think it is exactly. Like, I mean, the animated film is definitely rewatchable a million times. This one, I feel like it would be rewatchable, but there were moments in this movie where I was just, okay, like, I've seen all this. This is great, but now I'm just waiting for the movie to end. Thank you. Let's keep going. Which I kind of felt bad for feeling that way, but like, I did enjoy it. But I do plan to rewatch this movie because I really want to rewatch this in 4DX. I saw it in IMAX already, so I do plan to rewatch this film for sure. And like, there's a lot about this film that just really draws you into wanting to rewatch it, even though there is that bit, like, once the film starts wrapping up, it's like, okay, that's wonderful, now kind of speed up, bro. I've seen this movie a million times. You're not hooking me as much as the animation, so I want to get this over with and go home. But like, I feel bad for feeling that way because I was so in love with this movie and everything about it, but like, it did make me feel that way. I mean, at least I wasn't looking for the time to see if it was over, but like, I did feel like, okay, this is wonderful. Let's kind of speed the things up now. Which I feel bad for feeling that way, but it didn't make me feel that way, so I have to be honest about that. Regardless of all that, I give this movie a solid 83%, which is like 17 off the 100%, which I would have given to the animated film. But you know, I still love this movie through and through. It made me feel like I was back in 2010 sitting in that theater all over again, besides the complete immersivity I felt back then. But like, this still had a strong sense of immersivity, and I really, really love this film. So yeah, I love this film. That is How to Train Your Dragon, the live action adaptation. In 2027, we're getting How to Train Your Dragon 2. I can't wait to see you then. Peace.